37 seconds. That's how long or how short our attention span is in 2026, which is down from 2.5 minutes in 2004. This much smaller or shorter in only a few years. Crazy, right? When I bring this point up, people think that, this is what people deal with Instagram or TikTok or short content video forms, for example, on YouTube. But what we often miss is that these exact same people are the ones who are going to work with. These are the exact same people who are sitting through our business presentations at work, listening to our ideas, being ready to be influenced by us, and they want to listen to what we have to say. So these people have the same attention span, which means that something has to change in the way that we deliver, prepare, and give business presentations at work. That is why in this video, I'm going to talk about 3 mindset shifts that we have to do in order to compensate for the missed opportunity of the attention span of our audience. And this is not something I'm making up. This is what I do for a living. I coach early to mid-career non-native English speakers on giving business presentation skills at work to give business presentations that are clear, confident, and impactful so that they get the recognition and the visibility that they need. So you don't want to miss it. I'm going to start with telling you just naming it. The 3 mindset shifts that I'm going to go deeper and delve deeper even on this video, and then I'm going to talk about it a bit more. So the first one I want you to think about is, or the first mindset that you might have in you already is the fact that you feel like, or you feel the need that you need to share everything. That's number 1. The second point is that you assume, or we think, or we have this mindset that audience know where I'm going with this. They know where I'm going with this. They know where I'm going to reach, where I want to reach. And third, people think, or people assume, or have this mindset that they will get away by just winging it. I'm going to explain more, so listen in. Before I do that, I want to just take a second and explain why this is very important. I want to bring 2 reasons for you why this change or why this shift in mindset needs to happen. Number 1, in general in life, our mindsets, they determine our actions. So whatever you believe or whatever mindset you have in life, that will determine how you will react and how we'll act to whatever it is that you're doing. Doesn't matter if it's professional or personal. So whatever you believe or whatever you have mindset about determines your actions, and your actions determine your results. So if you have the wrong mindset, in this case about business presentations, it's going to determine your actions, which is not in your favor of having your business presentation land with your audience on the first try, and it will not give you the result that you want. So that's one. Second, our mindsets are acquired or nurtured through life. That is why it's very, very hidden. It is really at the back of our head. So it's very hard for me and you to say that I have this mindset, I have that mindset. It's very hidden. Most of the time, we're not even aware of it. And understanding and knowing that such a mindset exists is the first step into solving it and changing it. And I hope that this video does that for you. So let's listen to the 3 mindsets that I want to talk about. Let's go. The first thing I want to talk about, or the first mindset, as I said, is we think for some reason that we need to share everything. Everything we've done, everything we know, everything we think the audience might want to hear in our business presentation. And I have to say, this is hands down, this is by far the most common mistake or the common denominator in junior professionals. Because when we are juniors, when we are just starting out in our careers, we somehow feel this belief, or we have this value in our head that we need to show everyone that we have worked hard. We have done these many steps, we have talked to this many people, we have done this much work, we have to work this many hours. We want to share everything. And we are less strategic in our head about what needs to happen. And if you think about the attention span of our audience, well, it's basically gone. It's not really there anymore. So when you think about that, you don't have the time or the luxury of your audience's attention span to go through everything. Nobody has time for it. Nobody has the attention span for it. We have to be to the point, not sharing everything, but sharing a selective amount of information that will move the needle for us when it comes to the big idea or the key takeaway or the key message we want to have in that presentation. So the quick fix to this, if you want to know if you have this mindset at all, if you know that you feel like that you want to share everything, I have one fix for you, and that is determining your key idea or the key message for your presentation first before you do anything else. What do I mean by this? I mean that, well, you take a Post-it, you write down on it what is the takeaway message for this presentation, or what is the reason I'm giving this presentation in the first place. Or if somebody else asks an audience of mine who sat through my presentation and listened to me, what was that presentation about? Or what do I want this person to tell the other person? Do you know what I mean here? You need to understand the key message. You need to understand the underlying or the bigger thing you want to share, because that will act as a filter for getting rid of all the necessary data that you want to tell them, or the stuff that you think your audience might know. So that was the first mindset. You feel like that you need to share everything, but people don't have the attention span for that. So you have to have a harsh filter for yourself. Otherwise, you will lose your audience. That was one. The second mindset I want to talk to you about is assuming or thinking that they know where I'm going with this, or the audience knows where I'm going with this. Again, this is a curse. I call it the curse of the knowledge, or I don't call it, people call it. Well, I really like it. The curse of the knowledge means that we get so wrapped around in our head and we go super siloed in our world and we become an expert in what we do. And as a result, we assume that whatever we think and what we know is truth for everybody else. We think that what we know is the truth out there. So what we know, other people know. And that's why we believe or we assume or we have this mindset that people know where I'm going with this because they know they have been part of my journey, where in reality they haven't been. So the fix to this, or the change of the mindset that I want you to have, is thinking of yourself when you are presenting as a guide. Now, what does a guide do? If you think about a tour guide or somebody who provides a service to their customers, you are there to connect with the people. You are there to take their hand, guide them through a journey so that you make sure they reach where you want them to reach. You can never assume that people will get there on their own, because they won't. It's not how our lives work, or that's not how our minds work. We don't have the attention span for that. If you do not guide your audience to your presentation, the chances are they will be guided by their phone. They will be guided by something happening in that room. They will be guided by notification in Slack, in Teams, in Google Meet, whatever. You need to take advantage of this tiny attention span that people already have left. And that is by guiding them and not assuming that people will know where I'm going with this, because they don't. They're coming from their own world where they have their own priorities, they have their own things to care about, they have their own challenges, they have their own beliefs. And here you are giving a presentation and assuming that people are where you are, where in reality they're not. You have to guide them so that they will reach where you want them to reach. Don't make that mistake. Attention span is gone. You have to guide your audience get there. And that was the second mindset shift that I want you to have, which is not knowing where I'm going with this. Don't make this mistake. And let's go to the third one, which is people think that they can get away by winging it, by winging the presentation. So they don't want to ace it, but they want to wing it. And this actually makes me sad very much, because it's coming from the people who have the most talent. There's a phenomenon that I call the curse of talent, which means that people who are talented, either because of their nurture or either because of their nature, so maybe it's in their genes, maybe it's in the environment they grew up in, they're more talented. They start at this level. In business presentations, maybe people start here. For people like me, or maybe people like you, I start here. Not in my nature, not in my nurture, nothing. I had to work really hard in order to get myself here. But some people already work or start at this point. And this is the winging area. People at this point, they wing it. Whereas people who are here, people like me, people maybe like you, who are really terrible at it, have to work really, really hard. They have to work so much harder in order to be great. These people settle for good. They start winging it. We would like to ace it, so we want to become great. So it's about the distance you go through, not about where you start. And this really makes me sad because people, really, really talented people, they don't do the tiniest bit of effort to see the biggest amount of results. And this really saddens me deeply. And I think that needs to be a mindset shift, that we should not settle for winging it, but instead we should be acing it, which is by putting a bit of more effort into it. So don't fall into the trap of this missed opportunity. Do not have this mindset. And I hope that you don't. Okay, we went through 3 mindset shifts that we need to have in this day and age in order to compensate for the lost attention span of people. We talked about the fact that sometimes we feel like that we need to share everything, whereas in reality, we need to share this amount of information. The second one we talked about was the fact that we assume that people know where we are going with this, whereas in reality, we have to guide them. We have to hold their hands and take them where we want them to be. And third, people think that they can get away by winging it, whereas in reality, they can just ace it by doing a bit of an effort. Attention span is not a big thing anymore, okay? In 2026, you have to make an effort, and winging it is not going to do that for you. So I know that mindsets are very, very hidden at the back of our head, so many layers deep. So for each of these mindsets, I want to ask you one question to determine whether you have it or not. Of course, in reality, it's way more complicated than that, and we cannot oversimplify it like this, but let's bear with me for this part. So for the first mindset, what was it? Remember? It was the need to share everything. If you have that mindset, I want you to ask yourself, or if you do not know that you have this mindset, I want you to ask yourself, do I define a key message before I start anything else for preparation for my project? So if I want to give a business presentation, do I define a key message up front? Or do I just open up the slide making software and I start filling in the slides as I go? The answer is yes. Well, then you might have this mindset. Sorry. It's okay. The second mindset was the fact that we think people know where we're going with this. And the question I want you to ask yourself to know whether you have this mindset or not is, do I think about guiding my audience in my presentation? Do I use signposts in my slides in order to get them reach where I want them to reach? Do I give them signs of this is what I talked about, this is what I'm going to talk about next? How much guidance am I providing for my audience so I don't lose them with the attention span? Are you doing that or not? Is that a yes or no? Could be also in the middle. It could be also a gray area, but think about it for yourself. And the third mindset or third thing we talked about was winging it instead of acing it. So people think that they can get away by winging something, whereas in reality, they have the missed opportunity of acing it. And for this, I have one question for you. When it comes to preparation for your presentation, when it comes to you getting ready to offer that presentation to your audience, do you practice? As simple as that. Do you practice or not? If you do not practice, it means that you are winging it. Practicing is the simplest effort that you can make in order to ace that presentation. So for the attention span of today, in this day and age, in this world, you cannot wing it. You have to ace it. And if you are talented, don't fall into the curse of the talent. You can already be great and you can already ace it. All right, and these were the 3 mindset shifts I wanted you to think about As I talked about, knowing it is the first point or the first step into understanding what we can do about it, or if we have it or not, with those 3 questions that I just said. Okay, and now I want you to think for yourself, and I want you to let me know down below. Which one do you have? Which one have you observed? What is your experience with this? I would love to hear it from you. Thanks so much for listening, and see you in the next one.